Another day, another video. So guys, today, let's review Kirby Nightmare in Dreamland. Okay guys, again, if you haven't played the game, make sure that you played it because there might be spoilers in this video. And if you're new to the channel, make sure to subscribe and hit that like button and bell turn on notifications. And if you don't know me, I'm Ramo Pando. I do top 10s, reviews, and some evolutions here and there. And yeah, let's start. Nintendo's run of nostalgic remakes proceeds with Kirby Nightmare in Dreamland. It's really a redo of the 1993 NES game Kirby's Adventure. The design have been brought up to cutting-edge measures, and the gameplay and level plans are intact with minor modifications, the larger part of which are positive. As Kirby, you're a charming floating pop ball who can breathe in and retain his enemies' abilities. The game itself plays much like an installment within the Super Mario Bros. Series, but that Kirby can fly and the trouble isn't about as genuine. Kirby's inspiration is to assist his individual inhabitants of Dreamland who are incapable to dream since King Dedede has stolen the Rod of Dreams. In a race to recover the rod, Kirby must visit the 7 distinctive domains of Dreamland and fight King Dedede's adherents. In common sense terms, this implies you'll visit generally 40 diverse stages and be able to absorb the abilities of roughly 30 different enemies. There are also a dozen nightmare characters strewn all through the game that you'll fight at visit interims in a range to secure uncommon abilities or recover a parcel of the Rod of Dreams. Compared with similar games, Kirby Nightmare in Dreamland isn't that imaginative or challenging. Each stage scrolls from cleared out to right or foot to beat. Along the way, you wish to maintain a strategic distance from enemies and hazards such as a spiky pits and cannons that are normal of other side-scrolling adventure games. Kirby can walk, hop, swim underwater, and float in mid-air. In most cases, you'll be able to get to the exit for a specific area without ever interacting with a single enemy. At the same time, you have got 6 hit points to waste before losing a life, and there are various chances to pick up extra lives. Assortment is the factor that creates Kirby Nightmare in Dreamland so enjoyable. Most of the foes within the game have special attacks that they attempt to spring on Kirby, but you'll turn these attacks against them by breathing in their bodies and retaining their abilities. The number of distinctive attacks you'll secure is amazing. There are at slightest 2 dozen isolated abilities, a few of which can be blended together. Outstanding illustrations incorporate fire breath, a sword, porcupine spikes, and a laser beam. One of these abilities indeed lets you change into a rock to drop on enemies. You can't move while the rock is on the ground, but you can't lose any hit points either. An included challenge is the endeavor to total the game with 100% positioning, which you'll be able as it were accomplished by finding each hidden door. A few doors are found in hard-to-reach areas, and a few require that you just utilize a particular ability to clear absent obstacles. Portion of the game's charm is that there are so many different things to undertake in order to discover these hidden doors. Your rewards on the other side of these doors are additional lives, unused abilities, and fields where you'll battle bosses you've previously defeated. The dozen or so bosses you'll experience all through the most journey will spice things up a bit, since they by and large have intelligent attack designs and are powerless to particular abilities. For all viable purposes, Kirby Nightmare in Dreamland could be a brand new game. The gameplay is indistinguishable to that of Kirby's Adventure, but there are various changes and enhancements that influence nearly each other viewpoint of the game. In the event that you own Kirby's Adventure for the NES, you likely won't recognize Nightmare in Dreamland. By the same token, if you're fair now discovering Kirby for the primary time, you will be hard-pressed to discover any highlight of the game that appears dated or something else out of sorts with the other adventure recreations that are accessible for the Game Boy Advance. The most obvious change is the change in design. Nintendo redid all the craftsmanship from Kirby's Adventure such that the foundation have different layers of looking over and included for fluidity, much obliged to an increment in colors. The character sprites counting Kirby have been redrawn to see cuter and livelier. Kirby contains a diverse outfit or cap that he wears to speak to each of his abilities. Bosses are twice as expansive as they were within the NES form of the game, and they invigorate with a more prominent extent of expression that superior appears their facial reactions. There are also a number of better points of interest to watch that assist recognize the game from its NES forerunner. The fire impacts that radiate from Kirby's fire ability are loaded with smoke and burn more luxuriously. This straightforwardness impact utilized underwater is more pleasant and it's also more entertaining since Kirby presently wears a snorkel while swimming. The conclusion result of this graphical overhauls is that Kirby Nightmare in Dreamland looks strikingly distinctive from and way better than Kirby's Adventure. The game still isn't very up to standard with Yoshi's Island or Castlevania Harmony of Dissonance in terms of color assortment or number of pre-looking over foundations, but considering the pervasive charming factor, that's not a worthy complaint. Alongside the visual upgrade, the music and sound effects have gotten an update. The changes aren't as clear-cut, but a side-by-side comparison with Kirby's Adventure uncovers that there are by and large more disobedient show on each melodic track, and the sound effects are more forcing. With the expansion of a few unused speech tests, you'll also get to listen Kirby's quick out and ouch or a yay once in a while. The generally soundtrack isn't as vigorous of shirted as that of other well-received GBA adventure games, but it's more than adequate for the unusual gameplay in Nightmare in Dreamland. Despite the fact that it would be a squander of space to point out all the contrast between the more seasoned Kirby's Adventure and Kirby Nightmare in Dreamland, there are few changes worth noticing since they talk to Nintendo's endeavors to upgrade the item. The three secondary games you'll experience at different points all through the game in a range to win extra lives have been changed. The primary quick draw may be a secondary game in which you endeavor to attack your rival. Sometime recently they attack you, but as it were after a buzzer sounds. Bomb Rally is comparable to tennis, but that you're hurling a bomb back and forward until it explodes on somebody. Final secondary game is called Air Grind. It's a mini game in which you wish to ride a skateboard over a rainbow and grind over the smooth portions. The foremost amazing angle of this game, be that as it may, is that there are three other opponents competing against you, and they are weaving closer and advance from the screen and scaling bigger and smaller as they do so. The reason for the consideration of unused secondary games is that they're all multiplayer capable. In reality, Kirby Nightmare in Dreamland has bolster for up to 4 players in all of its gameplay modes, something that wasn't genuine of Kirby's Adventure. With as it were a single cartridge and 4 frameworks, you'll be able to compete against your companions within 3 secondary games said over. In the event that all 3 of your companions have a copy of the game, you'll be able to play through the most quests as a group. Each Kirby will have a special color scheme and you're connected with one another while battling foes and looking for hidden doors. Kirby Nightmare in Dreamland makes up for its simplistic gameplay and brief journey with an awesome bargain of assortment. The expansion of multiplayer highlights is awesome, but solo players can still keep themselves involved by endeavoring to open the more troublesome additional mode. In any case, you would like to keep in mind that the game itself isn't as broad or assorted as Yoshi's Island or Metroid Fusion. That said, it complements them pleasantly and is well suited to more youthful players or the youthful at heart. Okay guys, that's it. If you guys like this video, make sure to hit that like button. And if you're new here, make sure to subscribe and hit that little bell, turn on notifications, and comment down below what do you think about this game. And yeah, see you guys on the next video. Goodbye!